How's it going, everyone? Alninio here, and today we're going to be talking about runes, masteries, and item sets on Katarina for patch 6.6 and onwards. Because Riot might change some things with Kat, we never know, but this is how I play Katarina right now, and how you should play as Katarina as well. So let's dive right in. I'll try to explain everything as quick as possible, so you can guys get to the point and understand my point. First runes. First rune page is AP Quints, Magic Resist Glyphs, Health Level Seals, and Magic Pen Marks. This rune page is really good versus LeBlanc, Annie, Kassadin, even Cho'Gath. Champions who have really strong early power, level 2 power spikes. They can really damage you, they can really hurt you, they do a lot of damage. So having the flat Magic Resist is incredibly good against those champions, and it does plenty of work. This rune page is just overall the default version of going up against an AP champion as Katarina. So you should definitely have a rune page like that. My second rune page is mid-full AP. So there's AP Quints, AP Glyphs, Help Level Seals, and Magic Pen Marks. Now, you go for this when you are against a Twisted Fate, even a Fizz player. You can actually go for this, even sometimes Zed if you feel like you want to go for this. But I do have a separate rune page for that, because you definitely don't want Help Level Seals against an AD champion. You want flat armor seals. So these are really good if you are feeling confident in the lane, if you can punish mistakes. This rune page is really good for punishing mistakes. When someone burns the cooldown, you all in him. When someone uses a certain ability that you can punish. Like Annie's stun, for example. You can even use this against Annie if you know what you're doing. If Annie uses her stun on a minion, you can actually collapse on that. But you don't necessarily have to go for this exactly, because you can still stick with the magic resist glyphs, and it's more favorable against an Annie player. It just makes more sense to go for that. My next rune page is Sinister Blade versus AD. This is typically against AD champions, Zed, Yasuo, Talon, etc, etc. Even Kha'Zix mid, but I've never seen a Kha'Zix mid in a while. But this works against AD champions. AP Quints, Flat Armor Seals, Magic Pen Glyphs, and Magic Pen Marks. Now, the reason I go for Magic Pen Glyphs and Magic Pen Marks together combined gives you over 13 Magic Pen. Usually against a Zed player, he would typically rush Maw of Memorius or Hex Drinker if you're doing really well against him. This Magic Pen really helps out to a point where you wouldn't even really believe it. It's really good against AD champions, because you can poke them a lot, and they always have to get in melee range. But with Magic Pen, you can constantly poke them Q over and over and over. Really good amount of damage, really strong. Zhonya's Hourglass is typically the main item here against Zed player, and this is the typical rune page against him. But you can get Luden's Echo if you manage to do really well against him. You don't necessarily have to get Zhonya. Zhonya is very good though. So, Abyssal Scepter is something I want to point out here. If you have Abyssal Scepter and you have 13 plus Magic Pen, you easily drop their Amar by over quite a decent amount. 33 Magic Pen, basically. You have 33 Magic Penetration if you have Abyssal Scepter in this rune page, which is insane amount flat. It's just such a good early item, and this does a lot of work for that. So, go for this rune page against AD champions. You can swap out Magic Pen Glyphs for AP Glyphs instead if you feel like you don't want this. It's completely up to you. This is how I do it. Versus AP champions, I have a different rune page for that. I have one here, which is Health Amar, and I have this one here, which is Magic Pen instead. So it's exactly the same. AP Quints, Health Level Seals, Magic Pen Marks, and Magic Pen Glyphs. If I want to play aggressive, I want to make plays like versus Echo. Versus Echo, I typically go for this, because I'm not that scared of him, and I feel I can do a lot of damage with Magic Pen Glyphs. It just doesn't see an amount of work, and there's something about it that I really like, and it works out really well. Magic Pen Glyphs and Magic Pen Marks, giving you a 13 Magic Pen flat is just fantastic to have. So that's it about runes. Completely ignore the fact about this. Like, this is actually, you can go for this too. I'll mention this as well. AP Quints, AP per level glyphs, flat armor seals, Magic Pen Marks. This is against AD champions, and it gives you armor, gives you AP per level, so helps you scale. You can swap AP per level for AP flat glyphs if you'd like. This is how I do it. However, I don't go for this as much versus AD champions. I always go for the Magic Pen Glyphs. I guess AD champions, it's just fantastic. And the Magic Pen is so nice on Katarina early. It does plenty of work. This is a great rune page for that. Now, on to Masteries. This is the Masteries you typically go for on Katarina. Go for sorcery, double-edged sword. Now, double-edged sword or feast. A lot of people would argue, hey, which one's better on cat? Double-edged sword is really good because you deal more damage and you take more damage at the same time. But here's the thing, against a LeBlanc, who has really strong early, this actually, she does more damage. She does 1.5 additional damage to you. So, it sucks. It's not fun taking damage from LeBlanc early. Level 2 power spike is nuts, but you can go for a feast instead of that. But if you know what you're doing against LeBlanc, if you can dodge LeBlanc W, you can actually just, shampoo and dodge it, and you totally make this worth it. You totally make this worth the point in that mastery point. So yeah, it's up to you. What you think is better. If you have a quick reaction, dodge LeBlanc W, go for this. If you want sustain in lane, go for this. AP, typical. You don't want lifesteal and spell vamp on Katarina. It's not really efficient. It's not really worth it. Go for the AP and the AD. Next up is Bounty Hunter. Bounty Hunter is fantastic on Katarina. You do 1% increased damage for each unique enemy champion you have killed. I'll explain what that means specifically. So let's say you have 5 kills on an Annie. Okay, and all your kills are on Annie. You'd still get 1% only. You wouldn't get 5%. You'd get 1%. Okay? Basically what this means is for each unique enemy champion killed. So if you kill Annie, Kassadin, Cho'Gath, Elise, Lysandra. Let's say you kill all 5 in the game, you'll have 5% increased damage total. Permanent. It sticks with you forever. 5%. And Katarina is a very good killer. Katarina, all she does is bring out damage to the team, so Bounty Hunter is a perfect point to get. There's no reason you don't get this. You deal more damage. It's fantastic. Go for it. You deal more damage. It's just how it is. It's that simple. You deal more damage, and it's a very good mastery point for Cat. Now, moving on to Cunning. Wanderer or Savagery? A lot of people could argue that Savagery is better. A lot of people can argue Wanderer is better. But for me, personally, Wanderer is the way to go because I favor Luden's Echo. I favor movement speed. I'm going to talk about the runes back in a sec. You can totally swap out AP Quints for movement speed Quints if you'd like. If you like to roam, go for movement speed Quints. If you want to have a better laning phase early and you don't want to struggle too much, go for AP Quints. But here's why I swapped out AP Quints, like I removed my movement speed Quints and I added AP Quints, is because Luden's Echo's movement speed has been buffed from 7% to 10% movement speed. And now you get this mastery, which increases your movement speed out of combat. Chasing? Check. Roaming? Check. You can basically chase and escape and whatever you want to do. It just increases your mobility. It makes Katarina more versatile in what she can do. And Wanderer is perfect for that. Why would you go there? It's perfect. It's just the best mastery right here. 3% movement speed out of combat. It's just perfect. Roaming, chasing, escaping. This is the way to go. Luden's Echo movement speed is also really good, so it syncs really well with Wanderer. Next point is Cookies or Assassin. Typically, Assassin is really good for 1v1ing. I like Assassin more. Cookies, if you feel like you want sustain, go for Cookies. It's up to you. 100% up to you. It just depends on playstyle. Next up is Merciless. Deal 5% increased damage to champions below 40% health. It makes a lot of sense to go for this because you're an assassin and you want to, deal more damage to champions who are low, and that's perfect for getting resets and getting kills and all over the place. This is perfect for Katarina's style. Go for Merciless. Next up, excuse me, Dangerous Game. Restores health and kills, restores 5% of your missing health and mana. Perfect. I don't understand why you wouldn't go for this 100%. Pretty self-explanatory stuff here. Magic Pen, Armor Pen per level. Sorry, is that per level? Yeah. 3 plus 0.3 per level, and you go Thunderlord. Thunderlord is the best Keystone Mastery on Katarina. Not Deathfire. I don't like Deathfire personally. Thunderlord is better for bursting. Thunderlord is just better overall in general. It's such a great Keystone, and I don't see why you wouldn't go for this on Cat. Now, onto item sets. Dark Seal into 3 health pots. Right? You can go for refillable if you want, but Dark Seal increases the amount of healing you get from potions, which is fantastic, by the way. If you have more healing from potions, that means you can actually stay in lane for a decent amount of time, and you can quickly get your health back up, which is fantastic. Dark Seal is such a good starting item because it's also a snowball-y item, which is perfect for Katarina because she's a snowball champion, so it makes sense to go for Dark Seal early as a starting item. Now, do not upgrade it into Magi Soul Stealer. It's not worth it, okay? Magi is just incredibly risky item, and it would only work in certain situations. It's risky. Overall, it is a risky buy, and it's not worth it. 100%. It's just risky, and that's something I never do. Something I never go for. Next up, once you make your recall, make sure you have enough money for Abyssal Scepter against an AP champion. Abyssal Scepter does an insane amount of work, and adding that with the Magic Pen glyphs and Magic Pen marks, you easily have around over 30 plus Magic Penetration, which is nuts. That's around 33 Magic Pen, to be precise here. And it's just fantastic. Magic Pen is amazing, Abyssal Scepter does a lot of work, and it's just great. It's great for his AP champions. If you're snowballing, Luden's Echo does a really good work, because it also improves your poking ability with Q. If you Q, whoosh, you get that splash damage from the Luden, which is perfect. It's just a great item, and I always actually go for Luden's Echo as part of my items. It's a very important item. It does its work really well. It increases your roaming, it increases your chasing, it increases your mobility by a lot. So this item, perfect. Zhonya's is one of your typical must-get items on Cat. Against AD champions, whether you're against an AP champion like Syndra, Annie, whatever champion it is, you need Zhonya no matter what. So Zhonya, you should probably get it against the Zed as your first item, most likely. If you snowball against the Zed, you can actually go Luden and Abyssal. The reason you'd go Abyssal against AD champions is because you still reduce 20 magic resistance from the enemy, right? Zed, let's say he bought a Hex Drinker, you reduce his MR by 20, plus your Magic Pen marks and glyphs. Perfect. Amazing. You need that. You definitely need the Abyssal at the early stages of the game. It's definitely not a definitely. You don't exactly need it. You can go Luden into Zhonya and skip out Abyssal. But Abyssal's early is just fantastic, and it's so cheap. It makes it always worth, it's always worth buying the item, because it's a cheap 2350 item. Like, why not, you know? Great starting item. But typically versus Fiddlestick Jungle, and let's say they have a mid lane AD and a Fiddlestick Jungle, you can go for Abyssal after Zhonya. Like, you get Zhonya and then Abyssal. But don't buy Zhonya against Yasuo. I don't think you need it. You can go with Luden into Abyssal to reduce 20 MR from Yasuo, because he always has to stick to you in melee range all the time. That's what Yasuo does. Unlike Zed, he can poke with Q, he can do certain things, but Yasuo always close to you. Abyssal is really good versus that, because you reduce Yasuo's MR by 20. It's fantastic. Cheap item, very nice even against champions like that. Voice Staff is your most important late game Magic Pen item ever. If you don't get this by late game, you're doing something wrong. You need this item 100%. This basically does 35% of the enemy's magic resist. So you do 35% magic penetration. Sorry, not magic resist. You do 35% magic penetration, and it's just great. It also combines flat magic damage, like Sork Shoes. It has flat magic penetration. Haunting Eyes, for example, also has flat magic penetration, 15 magic penetration to be exact. So these also combine with Voice Staff, and they work together. Now, I'll tell you something real quick. When you buy Voice Staff, make sure you sell out Abyssal Scepter, because it reduces the effect of Voice Staff. Since Abyssal Scepter is not a flat Magic Pen item, it is an aura. It reduces MR by 20 and an aura. So it actually cancels the effect of Void Staff. Does that make sense? It basically cancels it out. The Magic Pen should be kept as it is. The Void Staff only works with flat Magic Pen. It doesn't work with auras like Abyssal Scepter. Reduce 20 MR, you basically counter the effect of Void Staff by a small amount. It is a small amount, but it's still something. That little 1 HP that person that got away, that could very well be the reason because Abyssal. Because Abyssal is deflecting the effect of Void Staff. That's how it is. Rabadon's Death Cap. This is an item you just need. It's fantastic. It does the work. It gets the job done. I would not consider this a starting item or an item you get early on. Like, let's say you go Luden into Rabadon. That's horrible. It's incredibly risky. Sure, you have a lot of damage, but it's incredibly risky, incredibly dangerous. I'll tell you why. If you enter a bush that has a zombie in it, and the zombie happens to bite your arm, and, you know, because you have Luden and Rabadon, you have a bunch of guns, you're pretty strong, right? You have a bunch of gear on you that you just use it for offense. You're not using anything for defensive. Zhonya's is basically your tactical knife. you stab the zombie before it bites your arm. If you just go out all offense, you can't defend yourself from the zombie biting you. So Zhonya's is basically your defensive item, but also an aggressive item. Defense is the best offense. That's why Zhonya is really good. So don't forget to buy Rabadon later on. Just make sure you don't buy it early, to a point where you don't exactly have defenses. It's risky. It doesn't always work out. You might think, hey, I can snowball this game. It's greedy, it's risky, it's just not efficient. You want to be efficient throughout the entire game. You want to be able to carry the game throughout the entire game properly without risking death. Rabadon into Luden, for example, is pretty risky, and you are risking death. However, Zhonya and Rabadon could work together very well because you have defense and offense, so it could work. But personally, I don't like skipping out on Luden's Echo and delaying it because I favor the move speed it gives me a lot, and Katarina with mobility works amazing. It's the best. You have to go Luden's Echo. Mobility is my personal playstyle, and I love it. GA is your typical last item. It gives you free reset, basically. You die, you get revived, you can get more resets. GA just is the best late game item. Rylai's Crucial Scepter gives you health, gives you AP. It's fantastic. It gives you health if you feel like you're gonna get destroyed very quickly. But personally, I don't go for this. It's not my item at all. But you can go for it if you like. As a late game item, I don't really suggest it early game. There are much better items early game than Rylai, like Rabadon, Void. All these items up here you see before Rylai are all better than Rylai. Like, seriously. So you should definitely get these. And GA should always be your last item, in my opinion. Leandra's Torment is a really good late game item when they have a lot of health and they're tanky and, you know, basically they're all tanks. However, it's bad. I'll say why it's bad. It's not efficient. It costs way too much money for what it does, first of all, and it's not good. Overall, it's not a great item for many reasons, because there are just much better items. Leandra's weakness is that it's not better than Void Staff. Void Staff does a better job. The only reason you'd get Liandry is when they have like Shen, Malphite, Amumu, like bunch of tanks, right? All of them are tanks and they are carrying. The tanks are carrying. And you can't really get to the back line because they just strike you whenever you try to. It's really hard to play like that, and that's a matchup that's really not favorable for Katarina. It's not good. Like if this is what happens when you cat, it's just no, not good. Katarina is not a tank killer, so Leandra's Torment is almost, you should never get it, to be quite honest. You can get Haunting Guys, but don't finish it into a Liandry. Get Haunting Guys because it does give you nice magic penetration. Flat Magic Pen also helps with Voice Staff, so it works. Also gives you health. But still, I don't go for this. Lichbane is, you know, one of your way late game items, like 50 plus minutes in the game or something. If you feel like you need to finish off an enemy nexus that's open, get Lichbane. You get that Sheen proc, you can finish it off. W, basic attack, basic attack, basic attack, W, basic attack, and then who knows, maybe you're the guy that can actually finish off the game and win, you know? It's good for turret takedowns, inhibitor takedowns, nexus takedowns. It's if you feel like you need objectives and finish the game, Lichbane's really good with that. So you can, you know, make a play, sell your GA at the end, get a Lichbane, and rush in there and finish that nexus. It works. Of course, make sure you buy pink wards, and make sure, you know, by late game you get the Elixir of Sorcery. That is about it, guys. Thank you all for watching. I hope this helped out. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like and subscribe if you did enjoy, and consider subscribing. Thank you for watching. Hope this helped out. Good night. Peace.